This is episode 4 of
the God-Centered Podcast.
That's right. What are we going to talk about today, compa Marco?
Pues no sé, como que this weekend was a very eventful weekend for us. Filled with a lot of ups and a slight downer.
Yeah.
You know, but we can't help but see God in the middle of that regardless.
Right. If we look, we'll find God in everything. Even when things don't seem like they're going, quote unquote, as planned, God has a plan. We just need to see it.
And it's not always our plan. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. So what happened this weekend?
Well, we had planned to do a Spartan race. Aru! Aru! You know, we were stoked.
Yeah.
We were stoked. We had planned this out since, what do you, like a few months ago?
Yeah.
The beginning of the year, no?
Well, we rescheduled, remember, because we had the trip. We had planned it. Yeah. We had the trip on the same exact day that we were going to go build the house. So we rescheduled it for this weekend that just passed out in Big Bear. And one time didn't happen, second time didn't happen. But
spoiler alert, we didn't run, but we were ready. Maybe not physically, but mentally we're prepared.
It's going to happen, though. The third time is the charm.
It's still going to happen, guys, later on this year.
But see, in the meantime, I think we had to learn some important lessons before going out there, right?
Yeah.
We had to have the right mindset before setting out and doing the race.
Yeah.
So...
But, you know, it was an excellent start, man. I think I was really excited all throughout the trip, you know, because we managed to have a spot out there to stay. And, you know, we spent the night out there. And that was great. That was amazing. We went out to Big Bear. And the view out there is amazing, man. I love being part of nature. I feel grounded when I'm there, when I'm closer to nature, when I'm away. I think it's always great to get away of the norm and get out of the routine.
Yeah.
I always find myself... finding God and getting closer to God, rerouting myself when you're away.
Yeah.
You know, when you're not distracted by the chaos of the home. Because when you're at home, there's always something to do. You gotta clean. You gotta do something. You gotta wash the cars. There's always something pulling your attention. But when you step out, then you don't have much distractions. It's easier to. I'm gonna really focus my time and God on God. And look for God in everything that I'm doing. And it's easier to notice Him.
Yeah. When you keep it God-centered, you know. Man, because for me, it happened in the past. Before I would look for God or put Him at the center, we would take trips. And it was almost like unconscious. Like, I get out of my routine and I stop looking for God. But obviously, what you said is we kept God at the center. We're looking for Him. Mm-hmm. We found Him. And we found Him big and everything, right?
Yeah.
In the small moments and the big moments, He was always moving. Like you said, I mean, we're out there in His creation. Can you imagine, like, just to see the beauty of that? I got to experience the sunrise. It's just amazing, man. Just to see the sun rise somewhere different than your normal environment.
Yeah.
It was special. You got to spend some time out there reading, journaling, thinking, you know.
Yeah.
It's and I guess that started off our Sunday, you know. But even before then, on Saturday we had a great time.
Yeah.
Great family time and
took the kids out to the zoo.
Yeah, that was fun.
We saw a lot of bears.
Lots of them, yeah.
We got a bear scratcher for the price.
Oh yeah. We got a bear scratcher, can't forget that.
That was fun. Yeah. It's so fun to see how the kids get excited for the smallest things.
Yeah.
And that just brings joy. That brings joy and laughter to me. You know, because I remember being a kid and I love just receiving something so small and just to see the joy in them.
Yeah.
And Zeke loved the zoo, man. He loved it. He wanted to go back the next day. Daddy, can we go back to the zoo? Maybe another time.
Maybe next time.
Yeah. We went once, and once is enough for the weekend.
Yeah.
And my Saturday, I think my favorite part of it was the night. You know, because I got a chance to see the stars a little bit higher up, and it was really clear. And I think it was because there wasn't as much pollution out there.
Yeah.
So you can really see the stars. And it was kind of cloudy, but there was it's a funny story. So they had a jacuzzi in the spot, right? And the wife and I were like, oh, we're going to hit up the jacuzzi later on when the kid goes to sleep. He's going to knock out and, you know, we're going to take a dive and we're going to hang out. We're going to talk. We're going to have great conversations. It's going to be awesome. And Zeke didn't want to go to sleep. You know, when it came down for his bedtime, he did not want to go to sleep. And so we're laying down there with him. And, you know, my wife is, shh, 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 shushing into sleep, shushing into sleep. And I'm telling her, you better not fall asleep. You better not fall asleep, man. She shushes so good.
It made you fall asleep.
I fell asleep, man. I fell asleep. I couldn't believe it.
Well, I don't blame you, bro. I mean, she was shushing both of you guys. You know what I mean? One of you guys had to fall asleep.
Oh, she did, man. I feel so bad. But luckily, she woke me up. Luckily, she woke me up, so we were still able to experience that. And I can't say, I don't think I've ever been in a jacuzzi. So I think that was the first time for me.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so that was pretty cool. And the view was amazing. You know,
Wow.
there was an amazing view of the stars, and we had great conversation, and it was an awesome time to connect.
Yeah.
And we had that.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. That is really cool. That's what we were saying. Like when you get pulled out of your like natural environment, your home, you get to experience things like that.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's a gift. You
It
know?
is.
Like we say, it's a gift to like just even every day. You know, that was my reflection. Every day, just being alive, it's a gift. Getting to experience things like that, it's such a blessing, man.
It is.
And God always, like we were saying, when we keep Him in the center, when we look for Him, He'll show us all those things. You know, He's always moving, always doing something, but we need to tune into it. What
Yeah.
are you teaching me, Lord?
Yep, that is wisdom.
What are
That's
you saying?
wisdom.
Right?
Yeah.
Man, that's
We can
awesome.
find God in everything that we experience, that we have, that we do,
Yeah,
that what happens around us. If only we slow down enough to pay attention to
yeah.
it, and we can see it.
And we could see it all the time, man. That's right. So that was Saturday, pretty successful. Sunday was also successful. Maybe, you know, I mean, overall it was successful.
Yeah,
I
I
wouldn't
loved
call
it.
it a failure, you
No,
know.
not at all.
Because we learned something. So how did Sunday go? How did that look?
Sunday was great, man. I slept in. I stretched after we woke up. And we had a great breakfast.
Yeah.
My wife
Oh,
got
that was
down on the
good.
breakfast. She cooked up really good, really healthy, really
Some
nutritious.
avocado toast.
Man, because we needed that.
Pre-race energy, you know.
Pre-race meal.
Get some fuel before the race.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We were so hyped, man.
Yeah,
we were
I
so
know.
hyped.
I know. I mean, remember that drink that you made me so that we wouldn't cramp? I
Oh
was
yeah, we had
ready to
we had
go.
our electrolytes.
We
We,
had our
were
electrolytes.
ready. We were prepared
Yeah.
for it. We knew it was gonna be gruesome.
Yeah,
And then they warned you too. Those hills,
those hills.
they're gonna get you.
Yeah.
And you know, honestly, I don't think personally I didn't train enough for this. I
me
think
neither,
I
bro.
went more. I
I'm-
trained more mentally than I did physically.
I was ready mentally, but my body wasn't. I can't say the same about that, you know. But
I mean, we gained a little bit extra pounds as opposed to losing some.
yeah. Well, yeah. After the steak.
It's because it was gonna be easy. We were trying to make it harder for ourselves.
Yeah. We needed more challenge, you know. We needed a bigger challenge.
We needed to challenge ourselves for real.
But yeah.
But yeah, man, we were excited, we were stoked, and we were prepared. You know, it's when it came down to check out, and we headed out to the spot, and it was, we were looking around and we seeing all these people with their medals, accomplished.
Yeah.
They did it.
Yeah.
We're gonna go up there. We're gonna go up that hill. And we're gonna come down with our medals. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get myself
we're
a
gonna
medal
finish
today.
and have our medal, you know, because we were there. We were waiting. And
Yeah.
There was time.
We were there early. We got there early, and we were there too early. I think we got there first at 10 o'clock, right?
Yeah.
It was like at 10 o'clock. We wanted to scope it out, just see where we're going to park, where we're going to get situated so we know.
Yeah.
You know, you were leading, you're in front, we're behind you. We're just following your lead. And we found a spot.
Yeah.
We found the place where we were going to stay. We found the
Everything
parking
looked
situation.
good. Weather was looking
The
great.
sun was out.
Everything was. It was perfect. We just had to wait
Yeah.
a couple more hours.
So what do we do? What do we do while we waited?
We went to church. Remember?
We centered ourselves with God.
Yeah. Yeah, we went to church, which was awesome. Remember,
Oh.
it had already started. It's like, it starts at 10.
It was right on time when we
But
got
we're
there.
2
Yeah.
minutes away from the church, so let's go.
Yeah.
And we went. That was a blessing, man. To be there and experience just the, like, as you walked in there, I don't know about you, but I just felt God. Like, as soon as we walked in there, man, like,
It felt so welcoming.
worship was going on, and it just felt I don't know. It felt like home. You know, obviously it's not home.
What's not? You know, we kind of stood out.
Yeah.
To be honest,
A
you know,
little bit.
we stood out. You know, we're a little bit on the tanner side.
Yeah.
You know,
and some tattoos. You know, and looking a little bit different. You know, Spartan race ready
with our bandanas on.
with our Spartan gear and everything. You know, I think we stood out just a little bit. You know,
just a tad,
just a little
tad
bit. Yeah,
but they were so welcoming, and it was awesome. I think for me, it was good to go to a church that's not a church that I'm used to going.
Yeah,
I think I view it a little bit differently, but I guess I'm paying more attention to how, because you know you get used to hearing a certain preacher, and they talk a certain way and they use certain metaphors, and you get used to that.
Mm-hmm.
So when you are introduced with somebody different, it's like, oh, how do they preach?
Yeah.
What are their methods? Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I've read that passage before, but he's explaining it a little bit differently.
Yeah.
But I love it, you know, because it brings a different perspective.
Yeah. Yeah. No, man, the message, I think it hit home and it kind of prepared us for what was coming, you know? I mean, I don't know what you got from it, but for me, it just reminded me, man, of what Solomon always talks about. Like, Solomon says everything is meaningless under the sun, like the things we try to pursue in this world.
That's
you know?
exactly what it was.
Yeah. And it was, do you remember, I think the title of the series was like, how do you know if your faith is authentic?
Yes.
And he talks about being centered on Christ and almost dying to yourself, you know, and not pursuing all of those worldly things, you know, what it means to be quote unquote successful in the world, you know. That's what I got from it. I don't know, was there anything that stood out to you?
I think for me it was like you know, God created us and he created us to have certain desires, if that's the way to put it, but the enemy will obscure those just enough, tweak it just enough to make it sinful. But God didn't originally create that to be sinful. Like he wants us to enjoy food, you know. We need nutrients, but you tweak it just enough and it becomes a gluttony. And then that in itself is sinful. Not the eating part, but when you're overdoing it, when it becomes gluttony.
Yeah.
You know, we're made to procreate, you know, but within the laws of God, you know,
within
with
marriage,
our spouse,
within the
marriage.
covenant.
Within that covenant.
Yeah.
But, and then you go into lust and you lust out of marriage.
Yeah.
Then that in itself is sinful.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of things that the enemy will use to pull you away from God. Although at the base of it, at the core of it, it's quite similar.
Yeah.
But tweaked enough, it's not what God intended for it to be.
Right.
So we just need to be aware and cautious when it comes to things like that.
Yeah. No, that's right. I mean, we talk about that metaphor like when you go fishing, you know, I told you, for bass fishing, you use fake lures. They're plastic. They're not real, but they look very close to the real thing.
Yes.
And a good fisherman knows how to move the rod in a way that entices the fish, that makes the lure move like the real thing would, but it's not real.
No.
But the fish is going to bite onto it and they're going to be in trouble. They're going to be on the hook, you know?
Yeah.
Which happens to us.
Yep. We're getting lured.
Yeah. Yeah.
We need to be aware.
And you know, today I actually heard a message about that too. Put in a different way. I thought it was interesting. You seen the those light fixtures that attract the mosquitoes?
Yeah.
And they zap them. You know, ya se acabó el corrido de los mosquitos when they go into there. I was hearing it that why is it that the mosquitoes are so attracted to that, right? You would figure that after, you know, hundreds of them die, one of them would be wise enough to say, yo, you're running into the light. Let's be careful. Like one of them would have enough wisdom to turn the other ones around and say, let's not fall for this.
Hold on, guys. This is basically a graveyard. I mean, the mosquitoes are still stuck on there. I can still see them.
Right. Don't you notice what's going on? Right?
Yeah.
But none of them figure it out. And we could look at that and we're like, oh, man, those mosquitoes, why can't they figure it out? That's no different than humanity, man. That's no different than us.
Mm-hmm.
Why do we keep falling onto the same things? Why do we think we're like, I got this, you know?
Yeah.
That's not going to happen to me.
I could do better.
Yeah.
I'm going to go to the light and make it back.
Yeah.
Nope.
Zap. Yeah.
Done.
Yeah. And that just goes to show you, man, like living a life of wisdom what the world says is wisdom
Yeah.
and what God says is wisdom, it's very different, right?
Which is why we need to be God-centered.
Yeah.
And keep God at the center of everything that we do, no matter where we are, no matter where we go. And continuously pray.
Yeah.
Continuously build that relationship with God so he can continuously teach us and show us the wisdom, give us discernment to find that wisdom in everything.
You're right. And I love that word. I love that discernment. You know, it's a way of living where you're always prayerfully asking God. I mean, I love the way that we began our day. Did you notice how much prayer we had throughout our whole time? It's like before we left, we prayed. You know, during we prayed, the meals, and then at night. I love that, man. Closing in prayer. It's like, let's keep God at the center of everything.
Yeah. I mean, even when we had even like for Saturday, we went out to dinner.
Yeah.
And we had food. Our whole conversation was God-centered.
Yeah.
And I would say we were speaking pretty loud.
Yeah.
Pretty loud enough to, you know, you look around and you see people looking like, oh, these people are really talking about God right now?
Yeah.
Really? You know, and that's it doesn't matter. We talk about God all the time, no matter where we go, because that's who we are.
Yeah.
Because we continue to keep God in the center of our relationship.
Right.
At the center of our life.
It's an overflow, man.
It is.
And that's what I think, to me, the biggest thing is, like, when I understood that it wasn't about a religion, but a relationship. It's an overflow to just look for God.
Yeah.
You talk about him because God is doing amazing things in my life. How am I not?
Yeah, you can't help it.
You see what I'm like? Let's just say, maybe this is not the best example, but let's just say, like, I just got a new watch, a smart watch. I'm going to show it to you because I'm excited. I'm like, look at my new watch and look what it could do, you know? And we get excited about materialistic things or like physical things in this world. When you have God at the center and when God is doing amazing things, you can't help but just to overflow and just be excited. Like, hey, God is doing this, God, because you see God everywhere and everything, you know?
And you want everyone to know.
And you want everyone to know because God is there. Like, God is so amazing. You know, you see God's goodness. How can you contain that?
You can't contain that.
It's an overflow.
It's like having a light in darkness. You can't contain it.
You can't.
Nope. You turn that light on, man. Darkness,
Yeah.
gone. It's flooded. It's flooded by the light.
Right. So, yeah, man, it's amazing, man. I'm just blown away by what God is doing. And even with the race, right? Like, going back to that. So Sunday came, we left church. We get to the race. Remember once we parked there? And they tell us, well, you're here, but we're having a pause. You know, they didn't want to drive us up to the mountain because we parked far away. It started to rain. There was thunder. There was lightning. And so they paused it for, you know, just they want everyone to be safe.
Yep. They paused it for the unpredictable weather.
Right.
Can't control that.
And we were there waiting. We're hopeful still, right?
Patiently.
I mean, how did you feel at that moment? It's like,
I mean, I peed like 5 times, dude.
well, after all that water, right?
We were definitely really hydrated.
And all those electrolytes. I mean, we were prepping, bro.
I was becoming dehydrated after all the hydration that we had.
We were ready with water and mentally. Physically, could have been better, but we're still ready.
Yeah, definitely could have been better. But I think I was really impatient.
Yeah.
More than anything, I was really impatient just because, you know, the more that time passed by, the more likely I knew that it was going to be canceled. And, you know, I think this is one of those things that I've been wanting to do for such a long time.
Yeah.
And I'm a physical person.
Yeah.
You know, I love the physical aspect of everything.
Right.
I like to be physical. I really highly enjoy it. So this for me was like, oh yeah, man, I'm going to love this.
Yeah.
I can't wait to get in there. I can't wait just to crush it.
Yeah.
You know, even if I don't make it, you know, to the top 10 or it's just a matter of
you just want to do it.
I just want to do it.
And you want to see like how fast you could do it, you know? And just
I want to come out bloody.
Like
bloody.
You're racing against yourself,
yes,
you know?
exactly.
This is a race against yourself. And that's what I told you too. Remember I said, like, when we run this, like, you're running against yourself and me too, you know?
Yeah.
We're excited, man. We're ready to go.
And after the first time that, you know, we postponed it, that we pushed it forward, you know, it was just, we had that extra 2 months of anticipation.
Yeah.
Of, oh, I'm ready. Oh,
Yeah.
I can't wait.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't wait.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't wait. Oh, let's look for a room. Oh, yes.
Yeah.
It's coming. It's coming. Here it comes. Here it is. Oh, it's now. This is the day. Oh, this is the hour. Hold on. Pause. You thought. Sit in your cars, guys.
Yeah.
Hold up.
Yeah.
We'll let you know.
Oh, man.
And I think the lack of communication made it much worse for me.
Yeah.
Like, they're not telling us anything.
Yeah, we weren't being updated consistently.
They're not letting us know. But they're parking people.
Yeah.
You know, they're still parking everybody as they come.
Mm.
You know, I walk out and I see everybody else that's ready. They're stretching and like,
Yeah.
oh, yeah, it's gonna happen. You know,
Yeah.
it was kind of like a roller coaster. Like, oh no, these guys look like they've done it before.
Yeah.
These guys is definitely ready.
Yeah.
Look at them. They're stretching. It's gonna happen.
Yeah.
It's gonna happen.
Yeah.
And then it started to rain.
Yeah.
And then you can hear the thunder.
Oh.
You can hear the crashing. I'm like, oh man.
It's not looking good,
it's
but
not
I'm
looking too
still
well.
a little bit hopeful, you know?
Give me a cutie.
Yeah, yeah.
Let's see some cuties.
Yeah. Yeah.
And my wife was like, "Oh, it's gonna be good. It's gonna be okay. You're gonna do great." You know, she was encouraging me, and I just yes, I am. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for the encouragement. You know, we were parked next to each other. We were talking. We had a conversation, and then it started to hail.
Yeah.
It hailed, and it really picked up. Man, everybody ran to their cars.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone just hid for shelter
Yeah.
because they came down that bad. And there was people that became impatient, and they were like, you know what? I don't need a shuttle. I'm just going to walk myself up there.
Yeah. I
And-
saw that.
And then they came back down running when it started to rain.
They had to come back.
They had to come back.
Yeah.
And I think one of them that you spoke to,
Mm.
you know, he came back down that he already had walked up, and you went to go ask him to see if he would give you some feedback. And what did he tell you?
That it was canceled. That it was going to be canceled because of weather. And we had to. That's when we found out, you know, that it was.
I think I couldn't believe it that I even asked you twice.
Yeah. You're like, are you sure? Well, I went to go
You want
ask.
to double check? You want to triple check? You know, let's just wait it out. Let's.
I went to go ask one of the people that were parking us,
Yeah.
and they said we're still on hold, but more than likely it's gonna be canceled. But it wasn't looking good, you know. At that point, it was over.
Yeah, I think at that point I already knew too.
Yeah,
You know, because they said, you know, it's more likely it's gonna be canceled due to the weather. It's too much of a hazard. It's not safe to be up there. It's not safe to do it.
yeah,
You know, and I think I know what it was. I think at that point, you know, because earlier that morning, I took some time, you know, to be with God and to pray,
Mm-hmm.
and to pray to God and to have a open conversation, to allow God to show me
mm.
certain areas of my life that need pruning.
Mm.
And it was pride. My pride wanted to do it because this is something I need to do.
Yeah,
I got to do this.
yeah,
And that part of the race, that part of the weekend wasn't God-centered.
mm.
It was Marco-centered.
Yeah,
It had that tunnel vision
mm.
that I need to do this.
Yeah,
I'm going to do this.
yeah,
I need to prove to myself that I can do something like this
mm.
and come out on top. But I didn't put two and two together. I didn't. And it's insane how quickly God can, oh, you're not giving this up to me.
Mm.
Let's see if you can catch it.
Mm.
And I didn't catch it at first.
Mm.
I was so disappointed. And, you know, I don't get disappointed easily. I'm pretty easygoing, and I take life as it comes. I'm like, it's all right.
Yeah.
But this,
I had never seen you like that, bro. I had never seen you down like that. You were disappointed. I
was
see
very
it.
disappointed. I don't think I've been like that
Yeah.
in a long time, man.
Yeah.
I forgot what disappointment felt like.
Yeah.
And for others, it's like, this is not a big deal.
No,
It's not, you know, but for me, I was like, wow. And I think I took my wife was telling me, oh, it's okay. And it's okay. And I knew it was okay, but
Yeah.
I think there was an internal struggle.
mm-hmm.
So yes, it is okay,
Yeah.
but I really wanted to do this.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Like, no, this should have happened. We should have already been up there.
Yeah.
Like, the weather can't stop us.
Like we could still
We
do
can
it.
still run this
There's
through the
still
weather.
a way, you know.
The rain, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Just trying to figure out a way to maneuver. And,
Yeah.
you know, it was dangerous, but in my head, I was like, even better.
Yeah.
The sweeter the victory.
Man. Yeah. I'm proud of you, man, for catching that, you know. And obviously it's God like
Yeah.
working in your life. And isn't it amazing that you prayed about that and then God shows you an area, you know?
That same day.
That's amazing.
It is, and sometimes he does it for us
Mhm.
because he loves us
Mhm.
and he sees what we need. It's almost like when you have a plant, when you have a vine that you're growing, you have to. It's time to thin it.
Yeah.
It's time to prune.
Yeah.
And there's also a point that some gardeners will use is they'll pinch.
Mm.
Not yet.
Yeah.
You're not ready yet.
Yeah.
I want to hold that
Mhm.
and just pinch that a little bit
Yeah.
till it's time.
Yeah. It's all about the timing.
It's all about the timing.
It is. It
It
really
is.
is.
And God was holding that like, oh, I'm going to pinch that right there. You're not going to do this yet.
Mhm.
You need to focus on this.
Yeah.
I mean, that was personal for me.
Yeah.
But it was, if I wasn't prayerful,
Mhm.
if I wasn't in tune to God, if I didn't have my friends,
Mhm.
didn't have you, didn't have my wife
Mhm.
to kind of help me walk through that,
Yeah.
it would have been harder to catch it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I would think, how would I have reacted if I didn't have God?
Mhm.
How upset would I have been?
Yeah.
How would I have,
Remember we thought about that, and that's what I was telling you. There was well, spoiler alert, after the race didn't happen, we went to go and eat. Went to have a delicious lunch after that.
Yes, Mexican food is
Some
amazing.
Mexican food was awesome, man. But while I was there, remember I told you I talked to someone in the restroom,
Uh-huh.
and he ran the race. He ran both of the races, and he said because of the weather he couldn't finish. They got evacuated, and so the races became void. And I saw the disappointment in him. You know?
Oh, so like they didn't count.
No, it didn't count because he was halfway to finish, so it didn't count. There wasn't like he didn't finish, so they just voided the whole thing.
Wow, man. Imagine that
Yeah,
disappointment.
and I saw his disappointment. He was like, man, he was super bummed out, you know? And I told him something along the lines of, hey, man, well, at least you got to like have the experience, but I could just see it. Like that wasn't enough, bro.
There wasn't nothing
I
you
wanted
could
the
say.
glory, you know what I'm saying? Like,
And it's just, I think, yes, everybody wants that glory, man.
Yeah.
Everyone wants that glory from themselves to feel adept,
yeah,
capable,
yeah,
and it's hard, especially if you don't have God.
yeah.
I
And
think that makes it really harder.
And you're right, man. I think how you said that's how did some of these people feel when they were analyzing it through a different lens, not through the lens of, hey God, what are you doing? What, like, you know what I mean? Like,
Mm-hmm.
it's just even more devastating. And it's like we try to fill ourselves with accomplishments, with glory, with things
Yep.
that don't fill us. We need Jesus. We need to be full by God, and God will fill us, and that gives us the joy, that gives us everything. But it needs to start with putting God at the center and being obedient, man. Just I love the way that you were able to see God, but I love the way you were able to obey and surrender that.
Yes.
That's even more impressive, and I think obedience, because even that what you prayed for in the morning, you said, God, show me some areas of my life that I need to be pruned, or like God needs to reveal to you. Well, that's the beginning, but then there's a process, and that process comes with obedience, and that obedience is painful sometimes.
Because
Right.
the process is.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't get to the other side until you walk through it.
Right.
And sometimes that road that is going to take you to the other side, it's not an easy path.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
rocky. You got hills. You got to climb over things. You got to struggle. You're going to slip. You're going to hurt yourself. You're going to crawl. It's not easy.
Yeah. But it's necessary, man. It's like God doesn't want us to be carrying all these things that don't serve us. They're fake things that we shouldn't be carrying.
They just weigh us down.
They weigh
hold
us
us
down.
back.
Yeah. And they hold us from the things of God, man. They really do. And I mean, like you were saying, with this experience, I've had my share of things that God has pruned, and it's painful in the moment, but on the other side, it's freedom.
Yeah.
And you're able to be lighter. You walk better knowing that God has control over that area. I think there's certain areas that either we don't want to surrender or we're not even aware that we haven't surrendered.
Yeah.
You know, because sometimes it is an awareness thing, but sometimes it's like we're not even aware. Like, God, I didn't even know I had this. Like, where this anger coming from? Where's this pride coming from? Where is this coming from, God?
There's a root that you don't know was there.
Exactly. There's a root.
And sometimes these roots are in there pretty deep.
Yeah.
And they're so deep that you become aware of it.
Yeah. And if we just chop them down, they're going to grow because the root is still planted. You know, the main source is still in the soil.
Yeah.
So we don't only need to cut it, but we need to uproot it.
Yep.
And
because if not, you're going to sprinkle some water. You're going to sprinkle some nutrients here and there as your life transcends. And before you knew it,
yeah,
it
grew
new
again.
Growth. Yep.
And it might be a year down the road, 6 months down the road. And you're like, oh, where did this happen? I thought I had dealt with that. I thought I had cut it.
Yep.
Or I had removed it. But what you really did was cut it. And you didn't uproot it.
You cut it and you buried it enough to where you don't see it anymore.
Yeah.
And then it resprouts. And it resprouts in a different area in your life. Like, I thought I've already had dealt with pride.
Yeah.
I haven't seen pride in that area, you know, and I kind of ignored it because I didn't think that was pride.
Mm-hmm.
But then when it sprouted back out again, I'm like, oh no.
Yeah.
It is pride.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's so true, man. And I think I'm going to be bold enough to say we all struggle with pride. In one way or another.
Mm-hmm.
It just shows up different.
Yeah.
And God can reveal that to us, you know. And if you look at it at the end of it, pride has to do with glorifying ourselves.
Ouch.
And not glorifying God, right? I mean, that's what it
true.
really is.
Yeah, it's true.
Whatever it is, like whether it's accomplishments, whether it's money, whether it's like, you know, like having degrees and, you know, having title, whatever it is, whatever makes you feel proud, you know.
Way to take a stab at me, bro.
No, well, at me too, bro. At me, I'm
no, I know.
I'm preaching to myself, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And but it's good to hear these things, and like I said, I think we all have that.
It's the honest truth.
Because look, we're like those mosquitoes. We think like, hey, that light, I could conquer that light, you know. But I mean, humanity, we've been so the same for years and years, and like, and sometimes we think that things change, you know, like we're the new generation, we got this figured out, you know. The old generation didn't know anything, but we're all the same, man. The same sun that was shining, you know, 200 years ago is the same sun that's there. Yep. And our human nature, we just need to surrender it to God, man. That pride, the hidden things, just bring God into every single area and make him the center of it. Because how you were saying, if we're not careful, it could creep up.
Yep.
I mean, for me, it happened. I thought I had gotten rid of pride, and if I'm not careful, it'll sneak up on me again.
Sprout up again.
And then I try to make myself the important one, or like for me, it happened with finances. I had already shared that with you, like me being the provider, things like that.
Yeah.
I give myself the importance. The glory is not to me, it's to God. And if God allows us to do things, the glory is to him.
Yeah, and you see that's one of the things that God calls us to be providers.
Yeah.
He calls us to work.
Yeah.
But when you take that glory to yourself, that's where that tweak happens.
That's where that perversion, how you were saying, right? That's I mean, physically, it's a good thing to be like physically fit and to be strong. Like God created us like that. But it's that tweak, it's that perversion.
Yep.
And we need to it shows up in different ways for everybody. Whether it's you know, looks for someone or cars, or I mean, you name it, it's broad.
Yeah, it is. It is. And we need to let God be our divine gardener and allow him to prune us.
Yeah.
And be okay with it. Because I feel like sometimes we feel like when we glorify ourselves, it's the complete opposite. We're quick to cut off God because things aren't happening our way or that we want it. Oh, well, it's not working out, Jesus. Sorry. Pruned. You know, I don't need you anymore.
Yeah.
I'm going to do this my way.
Yeah.
And it should not be that way.
Wow. Wow, that's crazy, man. I'm thinking of Joseph. I always mention Joseph, but man, Joseph, when he received that vision, when he had the dream, and he was so quick to flaunt his dream, if he would have had the maturity that he had when the vision came to pass, he wouldn't have said anything. Yeah. Because in the middle of all that was character building. And that's what God loves. Mm-hmm. And that's what God focuses us on. He doesn't, like, circumstances, that's secondary.
Yep.
Character. Who are you becoming? And what is it going to take from the vision, the initial vision, to come to pass? Is that process. Is that pruning.
Yep.
It's being submitted to God for full dependence. Even on the areas that we think we got this. Or even on the areas we're naturally gifted at. Even more so, I would say, in the areas that we're naturally gifted, even more so, I would say we need to guard that and be a little bit more aware of that.
Yep. And we got to thank God along the process for pruning us. Mm-hmm. And if he's pruning you for a reason.
Oh, yeah.
If your life is a little hard, it's hard for a reason.
Yeah.
Find joy in that.
Oh, yeah.
There's joy in that because God loves you so much that he's willing to take you through a process where he's going to build your character.
Yes.
He's going to prune you. He's going to pinch you. Oh, you're not ready yet. Oh, if I prune this, you're going to grow better. You're going to grow larger. You're going to grow more. You're going to bear more fruit. More spiritual fruit.
Yes.
And that's what he's doing in our lives.
Wow. I love that. Yeah, absolutely. I love how you said that he's our divine gardener.
Amen.
He truly is. Amen. And we need to be submitted to that and just, Lord, here's my heart. You know me. That prayer that you had, show me the areas.
Mm-hmm.
Do with me what you will.
Yep. Let your will be done.
Thy will be done. Not mine. Because when I take control, I can mess things up.
I know mother's mad.
Yeah, yeah, dude, for sure, man. It just doesn't turn out the way it should, you know?
You know, Marty, I love how you just talk to strangers in bathrooms, bro. I can imagine that, you know, like guy's just so disappointed, just got done doing the bathroom, doing his thing. Hey, buddy, how was your race?
Bien agüitado el vato.
Bien agüitado el compa, washing his hands, pobrecito.
But bro, you know what? I think I got a thing for bathrooms and saunas and private places.
Because, you know, that's just where men connect. You know.
Well, let me piggyback off of that because today I went to the gym and I was at the sauna. See, I'm telling you,
I hope there was towels involved.
Yeah, there was definitely towels involved, but I'm there, you know, at the sauna, just listening to a message about pride.
Out loud in the speaker.
No, I had it in my earphones, and I see one of my friends. I hadn't seen him in years. He walked in. He sits down. He didn't even see me. You know, at the gym and at the sauna, man. You know that it's a unspoken rule. But you don't go there to talk. You know, you go there to do your thing and work.
No
out.
Eye contact.
There's no socializing in the gym. You know what I mean? And so he walked in there, not knowing I was there, and I texted him, kind of messing with him. I'm like, "Hey, what's up, Aaron? How you been?"
Hey, buddy, look to your right.
No, and then he texted me. He's like, "Hey, what's up, Albert? Good to hear from you." I'm like, "Hey, bro, how's the sauna?" He's like, "What? It's hot. What do you mean?" I'm like, "I'm right next to you, bro."
and then you touch his shoulder.
Hello. So then he sees me, you know, and we take off our ear pods. We were both listening to something, and we just start talking. And while we're talking, there's another guy that chimes in.
Oh, you guys broke all the norms that day,
huh?
Oh, all of them broken.
Oh, yeah. Well, it gets even better because we started talking, you know, we start going back and forth. We start having our life group there in the middle of the sauna, you know, men's life group, men's Bible study, you know.
Oh man, welcome.
And we're there having it, and then at the end of it, one of the guys. It turns out that the other guy who chimed in, he's a youth pastor, and he starts sharing about.
Interesting enough. What are the odds?
Yeah. While God is moving, God is always there, right?
Even in saunas.
Even in the saunas. That just goes to show you.
Oh, man.
And he starts talking about, he says, I've been really struggling with my identity. He says, because I've always been serving, but I made it my identity that I thought like works is what gave me value, and not that I'm a son of God, you know, that I'm a child of God.
Yeah.
And so we start talking about that, you know, we start going at it, but anyway, the conversation went on, and at the end, we're like, hey, could we pray for each other? So we start having a prayer session there, dude, in the sauna, man, and you know, we just started praying, and it was powerful, and that just goes to show you, man, like what we talked about, that overflow, you just can't contain it.
You can't.
And even Aaron, my friend, he's like, bro, that was the first time I ever prayed in the sauna. I'm like, that's not my first time, bro. I pray in the restroom. I pray in the sauna.
I make it a habit of praying in private areas.
I have a thing, you know, for private areas and prayer. It just worked.
Just like to break all the social norms. You go, Marty. You go.
But it was powerful, man. It was really good, and I love what Aaron said, man, and that's what impacted me. Because we all asked, what would you like prayer for? And Aaron said, I would like prayer for more moments like this. And it just impacted me. Because he's like, he would like prayer for more moments like this when you wouldn't even go into a sauna looking for a moment like that. It's like an oxymoron.
Yep.
But he wants more moments. What he meant, or what I take is, he wants more moments where he could connect with other men and talk about real things and pray for each other. Wow. And that impacted me, man, because that's what we always talk about. The lack of that in our society, the lack of that within men. And I feel I'm so used to that because that's what we do in our life group. That's the way we live, right? So I'm just so used to like getting so personal right away that I don't know. It happens.
And you know, essentially, he's looking for community.
Yes.
You know, and I heard something today that it really struck me about redwood trees. How tall redwood trees are. They grow up 300 feet plus, you know, and what surprised me the most was the root. You would think that the root, or like, oh, if the tree is 300 feet, their root must be huge. Yeah. It must run down miles, you know, but it doesn't. 9 to 12 feet.
No way.
That's how deep it goes down.
Wow. How does that tree stay up then?
That's the right question.
Yeah.
The way it stays up is that it only goes down 9 to 12 feet.
Yeah.
But it spreads outwards.
And it grabs onto the other trees?
And it entangles with the roots of the other red trees.
Oh, wow, dude.
So if you have one redwood tree planted alone, the slightest wind will blow it over. You have a group of redwood trees all interlocked. Nothing can tear that thing down.
Oh, wow.
Nothing can tear down that tree.
Wow.
And get this, they're all interconnected. It's a system. And they're so interconnected that if one tree is sick, has a disease, guess what happens? Nutrients from the other trees flow towards that tree to help it sustain.
Wow.
To help it get through it.
Wow.
Man, that blew me away.
Wow.
I couldn't believe it. I'm like, wow, look at God. Look how great our grand divine architect is.
Wow.
And how he creates everything with a purpose. And how much more can we be? How much more can we sustain? How much more can we live through life, through the hardships of life, if we have that type of communion, if we have that type of connection with others, if we have those type of relationships?
Yeah.
You know, we talked about this in the past. You know, when somebody falls, you know, we're there to pick each other up.
Right.
When you need prayer, I'm there for you, buddy. You know, I'm there for you, bro. I'll pray for you every day if I need to.
Right.
And that helps us.
Yeah.
We need to be like those redwood trees.
Wow, man.
We need to find community like that. But man, that really impacted me.
That's powerful, dude. Because you always talk about a tribe. That God is so good that he gives us a tribe of people, right? And I mean, like, as you were saying that, I'm like, wow, like, with those trees, look how much we could learn from nature and how much we can model. And by the grace of God, we are modeling that, like, with our life group, with our friends. We pick each other up. But how many people don't have that? And how many people are struggling in silence? And God didn't intend it like that. He intended us to be together, like those redwoods, how you were saying.
I was struggling like that.
Yeah.
I didn't know how much life wasn't interconnected with other people. I didn't know that. I was so used to being alone that I just didn't know any better. It was just the ignorance of it all. And people will live their life like that for a long time.
Yeah.
Barely making it.
Yeah.
Barely walking slow.
Yeah.
Limping. Hurting. Trying to get somewhere, but they're not getting anywhere.
Yeah. Man.
And it's a sad reality.
Yeah.
That we live in a society now to it's normal to be alone, to be self-sustained. I'm self-made. I did this myself. I'm going to do it myself. I'm going to get where I need to be myself. By myself, my way.
Yeah. Man. And that's a lie.
It's a lie.
And that's a trap. And that keeps you lonely.
It's a lonely place.
Unfulfilled. Unprotected. And vulnerable to falling down.
Yes.
Easier.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. I love that, dude. I'm blown away by that.
Yeah, it's a beautiful analogy, really.
Yeah. That was good.